about the main risk associated with renewable energy. Yeah, because I thought it's important as well for us to discuss that and see what we could be doing. Just recapping, so we talked before about the intermittency and the reliability of the sector. So what can we do? We mentioned that as well. We talked about the high upfront cost. That's something that you've seen. So we definitely also talk about technological challenges. This is something that we have looked at, and I'm sure you've paid attention to it. And we talk about yesterday. Do you remember that what we talked about yesterday? It's important for you to make sure that you remember that. We talk about the environmental and social impact, yeah? So, but today, this week, so not this week, this today, as I say, for the Friday, we're going to talk about the policy and regulatory risk because, renewables energy is very much driven by policy at first, right? Especially when you get into a country. And as such, that really, really will dictate how the sector performing, or at least until the sector reaches a certain stage. It's very much policy regulatory dependent. Yeah. So the influence of government policies, incentive, regulation, renewable energy sector, very important. Yeah. And that changes in uh, in the weather pattern, the climate will obviously lead to change in the political climate. Government priorities. They can introduce priorities, not priorities. You could see, for example, what's happening as we're moving toward COP28, right? So there's a lot of conversation about policy. So what's going to happen? So clearly, it's a risk. Though the political climate, it's a concern. You also have the regulatory hurdles, right? Talking about here the regulatory challenges related to a permit, to grid access, to integration to renewables energy. Oh, by the way, let me just tell you that you can and should expect lots of changes happening in the sector in the next, I would say, few months, potentially years, because Europe is going through major changes linked to what has happened, Ukraine, Russia. So that has many impact, and Europe is one of the main players for renewables energy. So there will be like a repercussion across the world, right? So that's something I'm intending to see. You also know that the election in America will be happening soon. So yeah, usually those big changes have an impact on the policy because whoever comes into power sometimes has a new set of rules and regulations that they want to implement, and it may be impacted. But let's see. Yeah, regulatory hurdle is definitely something that we see, and in COP26, yeah, you're gonna see a lot of it. Yeah, I remember, for example, in South Africa, they had a RIP program, but once there was some change in the RIP program, clearly, so stop the momentum that we were seeing going to the country. I know now things seems to be going back the other way around, yeah, but it shows you how policy and regulatory framework have such a big impact into the sector, such a big impact. Probably one of the first things that you want to be looking at because if the sector do not allow you to operate in there, it become difficult. Let's be honest as well, yeah. So I want you to be aware of this kind of challenges, but I'm sure you do, yeah. You do, you have it. So you want to be looking at that, yeah. So having some stability, a stable policy on the long term, it's favorable and it's very good for growth and also adoption of renewables energy. Things that not changing too much because if that's the case, it means that as soon as you start implementing, a change, policy change, and it can have an impact in what you're doing. So yeah, that's what we're saying. So clearly keeping an eye on that, the policy and regulatory framework, that's very, very much important. All I had to say for today, for this week, hopefully you liked it. So leave me a comment, let me know what you think, share with people that you know, and then I'll see you again next week. And guess what? We have even more topic that we want to discuss. Have a great week, and I'll see you, on Monday. Take care. Bye bye.